Hello, friends, and welcome to Virtual Strangers 58. I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend Ruuts. Ruuts, I'm excited, man, or at least I'm getting excited. The summertime, it's always the hot time for video games. And I'm telling you, man, the further we separate ourselves from the cold weather, the more and more stuff we're starting to see pop up in the gaming world. And I've just got this feeling of optimism with it being a generational shift year and all the cool stuff that's been happening in VR lately. I just can't help but be excited.
Yeah, there's just so much stuff, and just today's news that I think are gonna, I don't want to say revolutionize VR, but are definitely gonna take it to another level, on a lot of platforms anyway. So
Yeah, more than one news item on our rundown today uh, are things that are going to be the impact of which will be felt for years to come. And man, it's just such a great time to be a gamer, just a gamer in general, not even the VR gamer. I mean, some of the stuff I'm seeing about the next generation consoles actually has me contemplating in my mind and asking myself, are you going to be able to not play those flat games early next year when they hit?
yeah,
I don't,
especially
I
if
don't know.
oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know if I'm going to be able to avoid it, Roots.
Yeah, especially if they're that good, because a lot of what reasons why I don't play most console games flat is, or actually I don't have a console now, but if I did or when I did, is you're locked to 30 frames per second on the flat, and I don't think that's going to be the case. So you'll be able to actually play real gaming as far as the 60 frames per second, and then all this the stuff that comes along with what we're seeing is just it's exciting time.
Yeah, not only that, but in the case of the PlayStation 5 specifically, like it seems like Sony this generation is taking the philosophy of doing things other than increasing the graphics. Of course, you're going to have this big graphical jump, but they're doing all this other stuff to increase immersion. They're doing things with haptics and things with sound, things to actually make it so that it's really a generational leap this time. And honestly, when you see them start to do all this other stuff to immerse the player other than just graphics, really what they're doing is they're taking kind of a VR gaming approach to flat games. They're trying to make them more immersive by doing more than just making them photoreal. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot more to than to gaming than graphics for sure, and especially load times. Everything that we're going to be talking about, yeah, just makes a big difference for sure.
Yeah, and you're right. We are going to be talking about that in just a few minutes. But first, you know, we've got the latest piece of bombshell news from Steam and Valve, I guess I should say. And it's the day. The day has come. It's this past Friday. The thing that everyone's been waiting for ever since Half-Life VR was announced. That day has finally come because the Source 2 development tools have released on Steam along with the Steam Workshop, so that now this one, awesome VR game is going to, you know, lay its roots in the soil and begin to grow into all of these different games that we're going to be playing for years to come.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when the original Source dropped back in the day, it changed everything, and there were so many things created on it. Call CES Go or Counter Strike. I don't know if it was Go back then. It was just Counter Strike, I think. But I don't know. My history is enough as far as that goes. But that and a lot of other games were originally created on the Source, and it's going to be amazing time. I mean, we're going to see a lot of things created that is just going to blow our mind away. And one of the things I'm actually looking forward to, because I've beaten Half-Life Alyx, is I want more content, and I want like amazing content. And there's just so many people out there that know what they're doing when it comes to creating things that aren't even developers, that will make things that would just blow our mind away.
Yeah, hashtag Gmod2VR, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. And I got into the Gmod really late. My nephew was telling me about it. This is several years ago, So I picked it up and was just like, oh my god, there's all these cool things to play, even just little rinky-dink games that we would play together that were really cool that were created on Gary's Mob. I can't remember exactly what they were at the time, but yeah, no, I'm excited. I see a lot of potential gaming created here. So
This kind of steals the thunder of Dreams, doesn't it? I mean, we're still sitting here halfway through 2020 waiting on VR support for Dreams on PS4. And here we have Valve releasing, the most advanced VR gaming engine that's ever been created to the public for free. Have a nice day. It kind of devalues what Media Molecule's been building over the last 7 or 8 years, doesn't it?
well, hopefully they'll utilize the PlayStation 5, and that's where you'll see Dreams just blow up. But yeah, absolutely, because this is dropping well before a lot of that stuff, and it's just like you said, it's free. You don't have there's no entry point. You don't have to buy like Dreams. You don't have to buy it. You can just use it. So
Yeah, absolutely. And if you own the game, I imagine you have to own the game to play all these like different community creations, don't you? You have to have the base game
for Half-Life.
For the you have to own Half-Life Alyx in order to play all of this stuff that's going to be created on these in this Source 2 workshop.
See, I don't know. I guess I know it's going to be like the Source 2. I guess if it's something that is exclusive with Alyx, then absolutely. But even then, I mean, who doesn't want to play through Half-Life Alyx? I mean, even just the story alone, it was so amazing that, it's just an extra added benefit. But I guess if that is true, then what I just said is not true, and you do have to pay for it, but it's worth it for sure.
Yeah, well, it makes me a little less salty about having to plunk down that $60. They were very savvy in how they released their game, because about the first 36 hours or so that Half-Life Alyx was live on Steam, you couldn't use family sharing. It was disabled. So all of the people like us who share our games, we couldn't play it. And they knew as soon as we weren't able to play it that we were going to run straight out and, sell our bodies under the bridge so that we could get that $60 and buy the game day one, which we did. And everyone played it for longer than 2 hours. And now that everyone has it, everyone's played it, they're outside the refund window. Okay, now you guys can have family sharing.
Yeah, no, I got lucky and bought it anyway. So right before the sale ended.
I was a little bit irritated about that, but now that I'm going to get all of this extra content out of it, it makes the value proposition a little bit better anyway.
And how long do you think it'll take before somebody puts out like a legit creation? Aside from some of these other mods, like I'm talking like a full-fledged campaign type of thing, because there was people that flipped their lid at the end of the first one, at the end of the game, and the way it ended, and saying, "Man, I wish I could move forward from this point." And I would imagine somebody's going to do that, right? Where you're going to be able to play exactly that, and it'll be a completely different story. But I don't know. It's just an exciting time.
Yeah, there's a lot of prospects here. You've got the prospects of having all of the original games remade in Source 2. Like, somebody's going to do that, right? Somebody's going to make Half-Life, Half-Life 2, Black Mesa VR, all of it, because they can.
Yeah, and then we'll be glad we didn't play it through. And all those people like Driven By were like, you have to play this flat first so you know the story. Like, no, man, I didn't have to play it. Now I'm glad I didn't, because I can play it in VR, true VR. That was my thing, is like a lot of people were saying, oh, you can play Half-Life 1, 2, whatever, especially the ones where they were remastered and you had to play each level individually. They had to load each one. I don't want to do that. I don't want to load each one. That's a whole different level of just extra crap I don't want to deal with. So
yeah, I hear you, brother. Who wants to deal with all of that? Patience. Good things come to those who wait, Ruuts, and I feel like that's what's happening right here.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
Tell me something. What time is it?
Quote time.
Quote time. What time is it? It's quote time. Here we go. We're talking about Source 2 development tools here. Quote, You can create new levels, models, textures, and animations for Half-Life Alyx. And using Steam Workshop, you can browse and play everything that the community has uploaded. Want to build your own VR physics sandbox or a giant Rube Goldberg machine? Design a new combat encounter featuring a dozen Combine soldiers at once? What about creating the world's longest multi-tool puzzle or imagining a whole new district of City 17? Crack open the tools yourself and make it happen. That's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, make it so. I want to do it. I want to do it right now, and I don't know anything about making games, so it's probably not a good idea. But yeah, I'd rather play somebody else's creations that has the wherewithal to know what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't have the time nor the inclination to learn how to do something like that. But you know what? I will play all the live long day.
Yeah, exciting time for sure.
And if in case you don't want to wait on all these community creations to hit the workshop, several sample maps are also included with the release, alongside the quote entire set of Half-Life Alyx maps as editable source for reference. This includes a large collection of interactive objects and prefabs. So they've pretty much given us the whole game broken down, editable, right there for you to do with as you see fit.
That's crazy. Awesome.
Maybe somebody will do the world a favor and remake the Last of Us 2 in VR and get rid of all the BS that they've done with that.
Yeah. What would you think about Last of Us 1 in VR?
Dude, I think it would probably be the best VR game of all time.
It'd be awesome.
Honestly. I mean, if that ever comes to VR, it's going to be a phenomenon all over again.
Yeah, it just opens up the door for so many IPs and so many creations, and it's just awesome. It's the way Valve works. They're smart. They know what they're doing. Just release it to everybody, let everybody else's creativity tweak it, and then, maybe somebody does so good they get a job, and they're like, we want you to come bring this game to VR or just to flat or whatever. So
for sure, people will get jobs out of this. A lot of the people that worked on the original Half-Life games were modders. That's where they recruited the people that created those games, and we'll see a lot of that with as people get good in Source 2, and we're going to see a lot of new games, new IPs that come out of this. Things that aren't going to be free on the workshop, things you have to buy, and that's what happened the first time. That's what's going to happen again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be a VR gamer, and Half-Life Alyx, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, man.
This has to be the right way.
Before we continue, let's stop a moment and take a look at some of the key features of this demo. Much of what you see was built with Quixel Megascan assets, but instead of using the game versions, we used the cinematic versions, which would typically only be used in film. There are around 1 million triangles each, and thanks to virtual texturing, they all use 8K textures as well. Nanite can render an insane number of triangles very quickly. There are over 1 billion triangles of source geometry in each frame that Nanite crunches down losslessly to around 20 million drawn triangles. What does that many triangles look like? This isn't noise. These are the triangles, each a different color. Most are so small that they look like noise. Nanite achieves detail down to the pixel, which means triangles are often the size of pixels. This amount of geometric detail requires shadows to be pixel accurate as well, and Nanite can do that too. Speaking of lighting, all of the lighting in this demo is completely dynamic, with the power of Lumen that even includes multi-bounce global illumination. No light maps, no baking here. Without GI, all of that beautiful lighting is gone. With Lumen enabled, we can move the light and the bounce changes instantly. Okay, let's keep going. We've made some great additions to our audio system as well. Convolution reverb allows us to measure reverberation characteristics of real spaces, like actual caves that we sampled, and reproduce them in virtual spaces. Sound field rendering allows us to record and play back spatialized audio. All of this adds up to a more immersive experience. This swarm of bats was created with our Niagara effects system. Particles in Niagara can now talk to one another and understand their environment like never before. We've also added a ton of new functionality to run fluid simulations like you see in the water below. The demo runs on our chaos physics system. Here we are using it to accurately simulate the rigid bodies of the falling rocks and the cloth of her scarf. Now that the environment is so complex, we've needed to greatly improve our animation systems to adapt. We've added predictive foot placement and motion warping, which dynamically modifies IK and body position to look more natural. For the character to more realistically interact with the environment, we've added the ability to trigger seamless contextual animation events, like her hand on the door.
Looks promising.
Dynamic GI is amazing, not just for speeding up iteration, but also for its impact on gameplay.
Nice.
Any light source can move while
It
still
might
having
be.
beautiful bounce lighting. Dynamic illumination means specular as well, which you can see on all the metal surfaces. You can even see the Niagara-powered bugs reacting to the light. Lumen not only reacts to moving light sources, but also changes in geometry. Remember we mentioned high poly assets? This statue was imported directly from ZBrush and is more than 33 million triangles. No baking of normal maps, no authored LODs. And we can do more than a single statue. There are nearly 500 of that exact statue at the same detail level placed in this room, for a total of over 16 billion triangles from statues alone. Over this entire demo, there are hundreds of billions of triangles. So with Nanite, you have limitless geometry, and with Lumen, you have fully dynamic lighting and global illumination, all running on a PlayStation 5.
There's not much time left.
And this doesn't need to be constrained to small rooms. It can stretch all the way to the horizon.
The portal, it's open. Don't fail me now.
to see what's next.
All right, Roots. Like I said, I'm excited, man. And one of the big reasons for my excitement came this past Wednesday when Epic Games showcased its vision of next generation console gameplay with the reveal of Unreal Engine 5. So that's what we're looking at here. This is a demo designed to highlight two core technologies in the next version of Unreal Engine. Nanite virtualized micro polygon geometry and Lumen. Nanite is designed to let artists focus on creating highly intricate details on objects and surfaces, and Lumen is a dynamic global illumination system for instant realistic lighting in a virtual scene. So basically what this Lumen does is it's like ray tracing without having to have hardware accelerated ray tracing. It's a big deal. What this is going to mean, because people aren't going to have to program now. Like game developers, they're not going to have to program around using ray tracing. Unreal Engine has already done the hard work for you. It's just going to be an automatic thing now. You put your light source into the world, and all the work's done for you.
So are you saying ray tracing's dead after they just made a big deal about it being in the well, I guess it's not the newest graphics card line, but the latest, right?
No, the ray tracing is far from dead. There's a lot of applications for it that go just beyond just the basic, putting a light into a scene type of stuff. But no, it's exciting. What it means is we're gonna, the top level games were gonna be awesome regardless. What this means is that the mid-level developers, the lower indie level developers, those guys are going to be able to have world-class, lighting and graphics in their games now as well.
That's really cool. And just the fact that you were just saying before we started filming that they're making it free to developers, right, for up to $1 million. So, I mean, all the small devs get to use it, and if you end up having to pay for it, you've made $1 million. So, or at least your game has, and then it's not as big a deal. But I think that's really cool. Shows that they're really, really thinking of the developers as well, and that's cool. And look how good that water looks that she's walking through there. That's crazy.
Dude, yeah, it's amazing. We just showed. I guess we're going to show the entirety of this demo when we release the final version of our episode here. But basically, they've eliminated the need for these pre-rendered, copied and pasted textures in video games now, because everything's rendered out on the pixel level now, or the sub pixel level, and when you pair the two technologies that they've added here together, it makes for an incredibly high level of realism in these dynamic scenes like we're looking at here.
Yeah, no, it makes me excited. Makes me excited for like a game like this, third person in VR, that's rendered immediately. I don't know, man. It's PlayStation 5. I the more we talk about it, the more we find out. I get really excited for it, and I think the VR games are going to be next level. And I'm really just psyched.
Yeah, what really excited me about this, or one of the many things that excited me about this reveal, I'm a member of a few different discords for VR game developers. All these different studios have their own discords, and man, that thing lit up like Christmas tree when they revealed this Unreal Engine 5. All these different VR developers were out there saying, listen, guys, this is a big deal for VR. It isn't immediately obvious yet, but this is gonna be a big shift in quality for our games for many years to come. So
Yeah, especially even just the independent devs, the small devs, you know, to be able to have the same really good lighting and just not, I mean, the amount of work that this is going to cut back on is going to be huge for them. And that makes, I mean, that means the game's they're going to make more money. I mean, just everything across the board. It's good for the devs, which will be good for us as well.
yeah, that's going to be the biggest thing is the mid-level developers, not the tiny indie guys, not the huge AAA houses, but those mid-level guys. You know, these we're going to have a lot more AAA quality games, and they're not all going to come from AAA sized studios, and that's what makes this so exciting.
Yeah, that lighting just looks so good on every level.
Yeah, and you alluded to it a moment ago. This entire demo was completely rendered out in real time on a PlayStation 5, and that was one of the things that they revealed during the Summer Game Fest last week, is where this was actually premiered at. And you could see it. These guys from Epic Games, these developers, truly excited about the prospects of PlayStation 5. And to be honest, it's just more of the same of what we've heard from other developers. Any developers that have had their hands on this PS5 dev kit, they're all saying the same thing, that this generation is going to be the kind of generational leap that we saw with PlayStation 1 and Nintendo 64. That's the kind of leap that they're talking about when they talk about using the next generation features that Sony has included in their latest console.
It's crazy, man. This looks just amazing. This looks like a flat game I'd want to play. Now I see exactly what you were saying. Are you going to be able to keep yourself from playing these type of games, even if they are flat? Just because this right here, just this, whatever game this looks amazing, and I don't even know if it's a real game. You know, it just is phenomenal.
Now, this is just a tech demo that was designed to highlight the new features made possible by next generation consoles, and this is an example of what the next Uncharted game's probably going to look like. You know what I mean? It is. It's exciting, and I completely concur. How do we not play these flat games? Because you know there's going to be a buffer, right? You know, this technology is going to hit flat first, and then you know a year, 2 years, 3 years afterwards, we're going to start seeing this stuff really impact VR. But how do you not play these epic games, right?
Yeah, well, I guess if you're not a console person, if you're Gerillo, then it's easy. You just don't play them. But I don't know, man. I'm just psyched about having no load times. Everything that comes with this generation. Of course, that's not really the Unreal 5, but that's more the Sony. But I don't know. That's really, really psyched for the next level of games.
Yeah, I am too. My excitement level grows every day, and I mean, I feel like within the next month, we're going to get a lot more information. We're going to have the PS5 reveal event. I feel like we're going to see a lot of next gen games. You know, June's E3 month. This is when they always announce. You know, this is when they always show their cards. So I imagine that's what's going to happen in short order. So yeah, my hype level's already at all-time high. I can't wait to see what they actually have in store for us.
Yeah, agreed.
By the way, what time is it?
Quote time?
Quote time. It is quote time. This is Tim Sweeney, CEO of Epic Games. Quote, Sony's storage system is absolutely world class. Not only the best in class on console, but also the best on any platform. better than a high-end PC. This is going to enable the types of immersion that we've only dreamed of in the past. The world of loading screens is over, and the days of pop-in and geometry popping up as you're going through these game environments are ending. And the resulting effect is the ability to build games that are fully immersive from start to finish over hundreds of hours of gameplay, if that's your game.
Wow. Hundreds of hours. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the gauntlet was just thrown down from Tim Sweeney to the Gorillas of the world. Bam. You know, deal with that.
Oh,
Now,
you should have seen it, man. I posted an article with a headline, you know, that was pretty much taken from that quote on the Discord yesterday, and the Discord had been pretty much silent for a day or two. Nobody said anything, but as soon as I put that in there, buddy, the master race came out in force. So there's no way that the console could ever be better than PC. You know, we'll be able to buy those NVMe drives in a few months. Yeah, you'll be able to buy that drive. You'll be able to plunk down your $350 to buy a comparable drive to what's in the PlayStation 5. But go back and watch Mark Cerny's talk, his GDC talk this year, and you'll see him explain that the entire structure of the PlayStation 5 is built around maximizing the advantages of that SSD. So even if you had this in a PC, it's not going to be able to utilize it the same way that this machine that was built to be optimized around it is going to do. And you know, on top of that, that's not to even mention the other things like the Tempest audio and the DDR6 RAM and just all the different things that they've baked into this console. Look, I'm not sitting here trying to argue that console is a superior platform over time. Obviously it can't be, because PCs are modular. You can continue to throw money into them and improve them. So obviously over the marathon, they're going to win. All that Mr. Sweeney is saying here is that in some areas, this console, when it launches, is going to be superior to the high-end gaming PCs of that time. And that's just a fact. And if you can't accept that, you know, I don't know what to say, but, you know, more power to you, you know.
Yeah, so we were saying before we started filming that if a game gets developed at, you know, about the same time, you know, at the early onset of this for both PC and PlayStation, maybe even for a VR game, that the PC version will actually dumb it down a little bit. Like they'll have to make concessions to make, like, it's going to be the lowest common denominator. So you're going to have to slum it with the PC to make it work on both. So it won't be as good on the PlayStation VR, which I just think is ironic that we're coming to a day, at least for a short term, where the PC will be limiting what you can get out of the PlayStation version, which is just crazy to me. And it's probably right now there's a few people that are like, that's bull crap. And you know, that's just, what are you going to do? It's just facts, right?
Yeah, well, that's the same. When you talk about cross-platform games, that's always been the case, is that they have to cater to the lowest common denominator. And for the longest time, that has been the consoles, because, you know, PCs have had SSDs in them for a long time, but the games have still had to be developed as if they're going to be run on a hard drive, because half of the people playing are better, actually well over half of them, are still playing it from a hard drive. So they have to design the levels to try to hide loading screens and things like that, based upon that fact that most people are playing on a hard drive. So now that we have the consoles stepping up and making this, I mean, even Xbox is making a huge leap with their SSD. It's not only is the lowest common denominator going to rise now, and games are going to be better across the board, but what Mr. Sweeney's saying here is that the Sony console in particular is so revolutionary that it's going to make gaming PCs better in the years to come, because they're going to have to try to, for a change, play catch up with the console.
Yeah, and it also tells me that the Sony exclusives after PlayStation 5 are going to be better than the Xbox ones because of this literal SSD and being able to build it just around that and not have to worry about the cross-platform. It's going to be next level, and so I'm excited to see those games, those Sony exclusives. There's going to be an even more of a reason to get the Sony and have those exclusives over the title, because that's what it's been for the last generation or maybe two, where it's been really about the IP and the game, and okay, I need to play this IP. Now it's going to be like, well, I like that IP, but is it made on Sony exclusively? And if it is, it's going to be next level compared to, say, Xbox or even PC for a bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the next generation of Sony exclusives are going to be the best games we've ever seen, honestly. And not to say that the next Xbox isn't going to be amazing as well. It is. They've bought up a lot of game developers themselves, a lot of top-notch studios. But the fact of the matter is that Microsoft and Sony have taken a different philosophical approach to the next generation. What Xbox has done is they've pretty much built this super awesome gaming PC and put it in a box with a nice low price on it. So you're going to be able to plop down your $500 and, get something that would probably cost $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 if you want to build that kind of PC. So it's an amazing value proposition. But where Sony differs is they're not only just trying to beef up the hardware and give you prettier visuals to look at. I mean, there's plenty of that there, but they're focusing on new ways to immerse the player in gameplay. They're focusing on sound. They're focusing on haptics. Again, with the SSD, and the big difference the SSD is going to make is fundamental in how games are written. Games are written today, and I was telling you this earlier. Right now, when a developer writes a game, they have to write it so that everything that you might possibly look at is rendered before you even get there. It takes a tremendous amount of system resources to do this, because the storage up to this point has been so slow that in order to avoid the world just popping in around you, they have to write it before you get there. And that's where these long load screens come in. That's where these scenes like elevators and staircases, and like what you're looking at right here, crawling through crawl spaces, stuff like this has been strategically added into games before, just to allow the game to have time to load the next scene before you get into it. What the Sony SSD is going to do is the way they've implemented it and built the system architecture around it. It's going to allow for instantaneous rendering of the game world. And what that means is they're only going to have to render out what you're looking at. And when you turn your head, it will render instantly, that quickly. And, sure, it's going to mean no more loading screens, which is an awesome thing in and of itself. But the important thing here is all that stuff that they had to render before, all of those system resources that were put to stuff that you're not looking at, is now going to be poured into what you're actually seeing. And we're talking about more than half of the hardware resources being freed up now and put into what you're looking at. And that is a fundamental difference between Sony PlayStation platform and anything else that's coming in the next gen. And that's why I believe, and this is not just me saying this is what developers are saying. I'm a layman. Where the hell am I getting all this stuff from? I'm getting it from game developers. This is what they're saying. And that's why I believe, like I said before, that the next generation of Sony games are going to be the best games we've ever seen.
Yeah. It's exciting.
It is. Can you tell, Roots? Over the top, hyped over freaking flat games. To be honestly, I can't wait to see, what the next God of War game is going to look like. You know what I mean? I don't what the next Uncharted will look like. Even though I'm kind of pissed off at Naughty Dog right now. What if they bring Infamous or BioShock, or you know what I mean? The possibilities are so high that I don't know if I'm going to be able to resist buying a 4K television and playing through the window.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea. You have to do that, and I guess it's solidified also that you're going to be picking up PlayStation 5 sooner than you probably thought, because you were debating a week or two. I was like, well, do I get that? Do I get the next Reverb? Do I, maybe the Quest 2 or 1.5 or whatever they're going to call it. Yeah, I don't see how you don't get a PlayStation 5 now from the jump, because even the flat games are going to be amazing.
Yeah, and when you think about how revolutionary the next gen console is going to be from Sony, and when you take that attitude, that philosophy that they're putting into this box, and when you transfer it over to PSVR 2, I mean, think about the possibilities for what PSVR 2 might actually be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, Unreal Engine 5 is coming early 2021. We're going to start to see it in early 2021 with the full rollout later next year. And PlayStation 5, Xbox One, that's not what it's called. Xbox Series X, right? That's what the next one's called.
I don't even know.
The new consoles are still on point for holiday 2020 release. So
nice.
The happy days are at hand, Roots.
Happy days are here again.
I used to wonder how you did it. Lived in this empire built on pain and suffering.
More than a dozen people are dead after a missile attack involving Stark Industries.
Why'd you stop selling weapons, Tony?
I needed to sleep better.
Start drones incoming on an intercept course.
I told you your old weapons would be the death of you, Stark.
Love what they did with the place. Friday, you get a feeling we're not alone? And you are?
A ghost from your past. In death, victims have power. I speak for them. And we say, don't atone for your sins. Die for them.
PlayStation.
Rich, PlayStation 5 is a lot to get excited about, but that's not the only thing these days that has me excited about the Sony platform. We just got The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, just released a tremendous port that we're going to be talking more about in the coming days and weeks. But Gorn also coming out. We've got some footage from that last week. I didn't even put it in the rundown here, but looks like a proper port as well. Looks like Gorn, if you like Gorn, that you're getting a true to life, port of Gorn onto PlayStation VR finally. But this, Roots, Iron Man VR, I have been truly excited about ever since Gamescom, I think it was last year, when people actually got a chance to play it. And hearing what people say about this game, this is going to be a legitimate VR Game of the Year contender That's how good this game supposedly is. And finally, after all this time, we have a firm launch date for Iron Man VR. It's coming on July 3rd. So about 6 or 7 weeks away. But this game looks next level. This looks like another Gen 2 VR game for PlayStation, and I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, you're gonna have any time around July 4th? Oh wait, yeah, you're just saying you're gonna be off of work. You're gonna have all this time. You actually have multiple PlayStation VRs to play it on, whereas I don't. So I'll be living vicariously through you as you tell me how awesome it is. But now it looks amazing. And what psychs me about this is, I wanted this to be Marvel Powers United as far as what this game is going to deliver. And I think this time they're going to actually have a true Marvel game out there that's going to bring a lot of people into virtual reality.
Yeah, I agree. And the more you actually watch the footage of it here, that was exactly my thought. It's like, this is the superhero game we've been wanting ever since the dawn of VR. 4 years ago, we've been waiting on this game, and now it's coming. And yeah, it's launching as a Sony exclusive, but this is from Camouflage. This isn't a Sony first party studio. So I gotta imagine maybe a year down the road, maybe this comes to PC.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. It could be Epic Game Store game. That'd be cool. One of the things that drives me crazy is not being able to play it on day one. So but I'll have to deal with and then of course the fact that we said the same thing about Resident Evil 7. It's only maybe a year later, and it just shows you that you don't even though they can, doesn't mean they're going to. But I can't imagine not wanting to double dip as soon as they're able to. I think they will bring it over to PC.
Well, I'm going to make a prediction here. I think that you're going to find a tremendous deal on a PSVR headset, and you're going to go steal your daughter's PlayStation again, and you're going to play this game, Ruuts.
Yeah, that would be nice. That'd be nice for sure. Yeah, I was just talking to somebody yesterday actually about PlayStation VR. So I saw they had a PlayStation, and was just telling her how awesome it was. And she said her and her boyfriend were thinking about getting VR. She wasn't sure, and I was telling her, hands down, you need to check it out because it's way better than people think. And hopefully I sold another PlayStation VR headset.
Yeah, I saw one on Craigslist not long ago for like $80.
Oh,
like
wow.
$80 with Move controllers and the whole 9, camera, all of it. Of course it was out of the box and the cables were all crinkled up, and it was it was what you would expect it to be, but it supposedly was working. I just couldn't get to it fast enough. I was going to pick it up myself at that price just because how do you not for $80, right?
Yeah, I'm so suspect. That's what the girl was asking me if you can get it used, and I told her, well, just be careful about the screen because it takes about a second to burn it with the sunlight, and with people the way they are, and everybody's so just they don't take care of stuff anymore. That would be my biggest concern. And it was when I sold my headset that was the first thing the guy wanted to know. It was in good condition, obviously, and I swore on the Lord that it was, because I take care of my stuff. But it's one of those things you really have to take into consideration. Why is somebody selling this? Am I going to find out that there's a burn in the screen, or the cords are jacked up, or the controllers don't work, or whatever? So you're taking a risk, but absolutely, if you can get a good one for a good price, it's definitely worth it, especially $80. How do you not?
Well, the cool thing about these days is that you can ask for a demonstration. Like, everybody and their brother has one of these little devices right here, and they have cameras in it that you can video chat Pee Wee Herman style in real time, and they can plug that headset up and go ring and show you that the screens are coming on. And obviously you can't really inspect it, but there's a lot you can check for over the magic of the internet these days. So
okay, and that's why I use Facebook Marketplace too, because it's tied to their account, and usually if there's enough history, you know that person's legit, they're real. It's not like Craigslist where you just all of a sudden this person disappears into the dust and you're like, who the hell are you and how do I get a hold of you now? I mean, not that people still can't screw you over. I'm sure those stories are out there, but so far my experience has been very positive. But then again, I'm also been the seller, so you know I'm reputable. It's just on the other end, is somebody reputable that's selling it to me? That's the question.
Anyway, it might be a good time to start watching the Craigslist, because Iron Man VR is going to be one that's not to be missed. Camouflage, the studio behind the PlayStation VR exclusive, had initially intended for its high-flying superhero adventure to arrive on PSVR back in February. After a subsequent delay, which pushed the launch back to May 15th, it was later announced that the game would be delayed until further notice due to the coronavirus pandemic. So this game was actually delayed simultaneously with The Last of Us 2. So when I saw The Last of Us 2 get another release date that wasn't that far behind its original one, I had a feeling we might be actually getting this game sooner than what everyone was thinking.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. It looks amazing. Can't wait for it to come out for sure. And it's only a few months away, you know, really close.
Yeah. So yeah, Sony has now fixed the official launch date for July 3rd. The studio says more news will be coming in the preceding weeks to launch. So we're going to see and hear a lot more about this game in the upcoming few weeks. I would imagine probably around mid-June, like everything else, when Sony's doing all of these media events to promote their next generation of hardware and software. We'll probably hear a lot more about it then. Rumor has it that there's going to be a free demo that launches before the actual game launches, so you'll actually be able to play it before you pay for it. And there can't be a better testament to how good your game is if it's a game that's up for pre-order and you're willing to let people have a free demo before you charge them.
Yeah,
I mean, it must be good, right?
Absolutely. Last thing you want people to do is try your game if it sucks. Like, man, we can't let people try this. They're going to find out it sucks, and then they're not going to buy the game when it comes out. That is a good sign for sure.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, who've had your head in a box, who haven't been watching Virtual Strangers, this is a story-driven action-adventure title where players will find themselves facing off with Marvel supervillain Ghost, a hacker and corporate activist, along with various minions. So I'm not really familiar with this supervillain Ghost. I don't know if it's something that was created specifically for this game or something that's come to prominence in recent years with the MCU. But in either case, it looks cool, and it looks like a proper VR game.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with them either, but yeah, it definitely looks proper. Looks really cool. And like you said before, every single person that I've heard talk about this game that's tried it raves about it and how it feels to move around and how legit it is. So I think this is going to definitely be contender for Game of the Year.
Yeah, seamless flight, like high-speed flight where you stop on a dime and change direction, all without having any kind of comfort issues. And 360 tracking they're claiming with this one, Ruuts. They're claiming that you can go in all directions and be tracked perfectly.
Yeah, I wonder how that's going to happen. But yeah, I guess we'll see.
Black magic. That's what they said. It was some black magic that they put in there.
Yeah, hopefully it's not real black magic, but I definitely think it'll be interesting to see how good it is for sure. Because like I was saying the other day, like, 2 cameras is better than 1. And if they can do that with 1 instead of 3 on the CV1 or anything else, that's phenomenal.
I agree. Anyway, I haven't been this excited for a PlayStation VR title probably since Blood and Truth, to be honest. So I can't wait to check it out.
You can't wait to suit up.
Can't wait to suit up, bro.
Yeah.
What the hell? A bad omen? Whatever. I need to take shelter. Damn it! I'm going to need a new weapon. Devastated. I hope at least brothels are still standing. Anybody home? Nah. I have a bad feeling about this. Not very sharp. But it will do. I'm not sleeping there. Hello? I am Sir Anvil Cafeus, soldier of fortune. I am looking for food and shelter. Is there a brothel in this town? Where the fuck is everybody? By all the... Losing your integrity, so...
So we got some new footage this week of Undead Citadel. Dark Curry, the developer, released a 9-minute clip of what they're referring to as alpha gameplay. Ruuts, it's pretty much the same level that we've seen before, but definitely seems a lot more polished now and a lot more complete. What did you think about this footage?
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Like you said, it does definitely looks a lot more polished, and it's making me want to play it. So must be doing something right. Although it looks really dark.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I guess it's just showing off the lighting, right?
or the lack of lighting.
Or lack. Well, I mean, when you get to it, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, no, I imagine it's a pretty dark game, and sometimes that doesn't quite come across very well when you're trying to take footage of it. But you know, we can see enough here to see that it's an absolutely beautiful game. Going to be a bit of a hack and slash, but in first person. You know, a lot of these hack and slash games on flat tend to be third person affairs, but this one is coming to us at first person, and surprisingly to me anyway, seems like there's going to be a little bit of a, you know, comedy to it. It's kind of like I'm getting Army of Darkness vibes here. You know, the third sequel to the Evil Dead. I'm kind of getting that feel from it.
Yeah. Oh, good. I like some good comedy in there, right? As well as a story. So.
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly how much story is going to be to it, but the character that you're playing is constantly, you know, talking to himself and narrating and making little quips, and I think it was a nice touch.
Yeah, definitely. Now you said the first level is done, right? Or
yeah,
is
that's what we're looking at here is the first level. I gotta imagine the game itself must be pretty close to being done, even though they're calling this alpha footage. I mean, this game's been in development for a long time. There was playable demos of it early last year, and up until now, it's been projected to release in Q2 2020. They have moved that to Q3 now, 2020, like so many other games. I assume due to the state of affairs in the world right now. But I got to imagine they're just polishing at this point, because the thing, at least from my standpoint, looks like it's pretty close to done.
Yeah, I like the way the enemy's eyes looked there as well, and that looked really good. And the fact that you can take their weapons, that torch, pretty good touch as well. So yeah, it's looking, the more footage I'm watching right here, I mean, definitely that looks like the mechanics of the enemies are good. They're not just swinging their swords, they're actually doing different, jumps and leaps, and he's chopping arms off. And yeah, so if the whole game is like this, then I definitely think this is going to turn out to be really good.
Now, how much of this do you think you'll be able to play before it gets old? Like, say there's not much here in terms of story, and we just have some, evolving environments, maybe a new enemy type here and there. You think that this game's going to hold you through a 6-hour campaign, let's say?
Oh, well, if there's no story, I don't know how much of a campaign. I guess I'd just be going through levels. It'd be okay, but you need more stuff to drag you through. Not only story, but progression, unlock weapons, just or whatever. This has like a Dark Soul kind of vibe to me, but Dark Soul has so much to it. The story, and you're unlocking, stats and building everything. You know what I mean? Like, it just gives you reasons to keep going back in. So hopefully this will have some sort of mechanics like that. But I think it would need something more than just the gameplay to keep me for a full 6 hours for sure.
In my opinion, it really just depends on how polished the game, the melee action is. Because when I think of a game like Hellsplit Arena, for example, that's a fun game. You can put some real time into playing something like that. And if the fighting in this game is like the fighting in that game, then I'm good. Because, 10 times out of 10, I'm going to take a linear walkthrough over an arena setting. And if that's what this is, just Hellsplit Arena without the arena, I'm good. I think that it's, pricing is everything, of course. It would need to be priced somewhere from $20 to $30. You obviously not going to charge $40 and $50 for something like that. But if this is a $20 to $30 game with good, solid melee action, we can already see the graphics are absolutely beautiful in it. I think it's going to be a good deal of fun.
Yeah, it'll definitely be fun. But will you be playing through the full 6 hours? Did you play through Hellsplit Arena?
No, I didn't. I'm not. No, I didn't put 6 hours into it. I maybe put 3 or 4 into it. I mean, I had fun with that game. It's really, it was really good then, and actually, it's been updated a couple of times since we were in there. So maybe time to take another look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'm hoping there's more, because I mean, everything I'm seeing here is just amazing. But if I'm, being honest, it's just, what was that other game, Until You Fall? Also, was it Until You Fall or After the Fall? I can't always get those mixed up.
It's Until You Fall.
Yeah, so that was really cool too, but I didn't play through all of it either. I got so far, and there really wasn't too much story. And I need, at least for me, I need a story to drag me through, or like the Persistence we were just talking about before we filmed, and how you're just constantly upgrading, unlocking weapons. I mean, it does everything that a game should do to draw you back in, and hopefully this will have some of that as well. But as far as gameplay wise, man, this thing looks really good. Graphics look good. Pretty much everything about it looks like that I want to be in this world. So hopefully it'll have that extra bit for Ruuts to keep me from getting distracted, I guess.
Are you terribly disappointed with the news of the 3-month delay?
I didn't even know when the actual time was. I think it'll be good. I mean, it's any time of delay, as long as they're doing something with it, like they're actually making it a better game. That's one of the things I do agree with Alyx in, as far as, more time will usually make the game better. I'm not going to wait till it's completely done, but on any game, but yeah.
Yeah, I tend to agree. We've said it time and again, we'd rather wait for a game than wait for a patch, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely. These bodies flying all over the place look so good, dude.
Yeah, and this isn't even the campaign. This is the horde mode here.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. The way that the enemies are moving and they're fluid and they're actually looks like they're counter attacking you, not just swinging. And that's what you want, is more, action and more, I guess, make it harder. I was a big fan of Dark Souls, even though it's hard as hell, but.
Yeah, I agree. A definite improvement in the enemy AI. Some of the earlier demos of the game looked like you could probably get away with a little wrist waggle action, but it certainly doesn't seem to be the case anymore. It looks like you have to mind your P's and Q's when you're fighting these undead bastards.
Yeah, there's many of them coming, jumping, leaping, I don't know, lunging. I think it's really cool. And, a lot of the games like this recently also, they weren't turn-based, but like, I think it was Until You Fall, one would come at you and the others would hang back, or Asgard's Wrath, I think, was the same way. This has like just a chaos feel to it, where there's just guy after guy jumping at you from all directions, and you kind of have to watch what's going on.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
For sure. It looks like you can be swarmed pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, and one thing I will warn against, I saw them slice that guy in half, right, and half the body went into the well. It's not very good for the drinking water. So
yeah, we saw that. We saw that on Herschel's farm.
Yeah, that was such a bummer too. Good drinking water is always hard to come in the apocalypse, or get in the apocalypse.
Yeah, well, you mean like that stuff in the toilet?
Yeah, the water in the toilet. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to bring this up so to keep everybody updated on Undead Citadel. Delayed, but obviously progress is being made here, so we shouldn't have to wait too long. Q3, not that far away, so keep an eye out.
Yep, looks good.
All right, so this is an experience called Desolation. Not sure exactly how it's pronounced, but what this is a point-and-click style graphic adventure with optional VR support. It's coming to Kickstarter soon from developer Superlumen, and the developer describes it as being a distressing psychological thriller where players set out to investigate a recent number of murders in a remote village. You'll search the environment for clues that will gradually lead you to a terrifying cult. So basically what this is, Ruuts, is it's an interactive story, right? It's not a game proper. There's not going to be like free locomotion or anything in it. It's point and click style. Kind of puts me in the mind of Myst, how Myst used to be with these photorealistic scenes that you click your way through. but it's horror genre, and you know me, I love anything that's effectively scary, and by all accounts, this thing's supposed to be pretty good.
Well, it looks pretty good. Well, at least it looks, what I've seen of it looks, good. I like the creepy guy in the corner. Looks like he's about to turn around and run at you or something. I give him props for not showing that, because every other trailer would have shown that, and that would have been the main spook or something. But yeah, I don't know. As long as it, like you said, the story is pretty cool, pretty compelling, then I think it'll be pretty good.
Yeah, most people, or myself included, would frown upon the idea of not having freedom of movement, just clicking your way through scenes. But in my opinion, with this experience in particular, and this type of experience, when you're talking about horror and something that and you're trying to generate some genuine fear in yourself, I got to think that these photorealistic scans, they've got to have an effect on that, right? But having realistic scenery around you, even if you're not moving through it in a realistic manner, it's got to add another layer of uncertainty and anxiety into the experience.
Yeah, might give you more immersion as well, make you feel like you're really there. It's one of the things, if you feel like you're not really there, then it's kind of hard to be scared of what's going on. But if you can forget that that's going on, like you feel like you're really present in that moment, I can see how that definitely would make you more freaked out, right?
Yeah, for sure. And the cool thing about this is it's not just photos. It's not just scans. They're using real world environments, but they're pairing them with interactive elements. So they're kind of superimposing on top of the photographs, some things that you can interact with as well. So it's kind of part, real and part CGI, but from the looks of it, it's very high detail.
You just described the future of porn. You can just, you're in the environment, you can interact, but no, I don't know. I always get excited about seeing stuff, the moment that you can really be in a room with pictures, or especially home videos. We've said that before. It's just going to be next level to be able to relive memories or experiences or places you've been. You go on a vacation and you take your camera out and film all the places. I'm sure you've been I went to Jamaica once, like 20 years ago. Memory's fading, Wes. It'd be nice to go back in there and say, oh yeah, I remember this, hey, there's the waiter, it hasn't even aged a day. But I don't know. It's just the future of VR is good,
Yeah, and I would say that type of stuff is in the nearer future rather than the far. The hardware is advancing at a breakneck pace, and I'm not talking about the headset hardware, but the hardware inside of gaming PCs and consoles. The way it's advancing, photorealism is going to be not that far in the distant future. So.
Yeah, and I've said it before, the AI, man, when they incorporate AI into everything, which will probably be the downfall of society, but you can start having things in the real world that aren't, like I've said before, you're in an environment, and as you look around, there's no extra static pieces of things like trash on the floor or a notepad, or just all the little things that an AI could just fill in to make it seem more real. Little things. I think will help.
Yeah, 100%. And I kind of think that that's what they're going for here with the way that they've structured these environments and these levels. Let's say it's hard. They describe this as a game, and I'm not sure how game-like it's going to be or how cinematic it's going to be, but it definitely looks intriguing. Superlumen says the experience was inspired by the myths of H.P. Lovecraft, and the game won Best Innovative Game of the Year at the PlayStation Talent Awards show. So Sony sponsors these type of developer events all around the world in all the different regions, and they'll pick out some of these indie developers and throw a little bit of money and resources their way. and say, "Show me what you got." And apparently that was the case here. And Superlumen impressed so much with this program that they won Best Innovative Game of the Year at the show. So apparently the approach that they're taking here must have some sort of new innovation in it, or it wouldn't have won that award, right?
Yeah, especially from Sony. Makes me want to support it now with the Kickstarter. More money they have, the more they can do with it, right?
Exactly. And no date on the Kickstarter yet, but if all goes well, Desolateum will come to PSVR as well as PCVR in May of next year, so about a year's time from now, and they said it should cost around $25. So not that crazy of a price. It really depends on how long the thing is, as always. But I like what I see here.
Yeah, me too.
The Museum of Other Realities is a space to connect, share, and experience a growing collection of mind-bending virtual art. Step into a painting. Surround yourself with fantastic sounds. And experience art in a new way as you interact, watch it evolve, and take form. Explore the new, evolving collection at exhibition parties. Enjoy the experience with friends from around the world, and make new ones in a gallery you can visit from anywhere. Join the community of explorers and artists who are creating a new kind of immersive art showcase in the Museum of Other Realities.
That last game experience, whatever that we were looking at, Desolateum, just one, the latest of a growing list of examples of immersive storytelling in VR. We've seen it time and time again. The artists of the world are finally beginning to embrace VR, and we're getting all sorts of movies and interactive experiences that really are beginning to redefine the genre. And we saw it most recently about a month ago, was it? On Oculus Quest, with their coverage of the Tribeca Film Festival and all the different pieces on there. Some of them were great, some of them were not so great, but it was definitely a time well spent when I went in to check that thing out. Well, Tribeca is not the only film festival that holds these sort of displays of VR art, VR storytelling, VR video. The Cannes Film Festival, is it Cannes or Con? I don't even know.
I think it's Cannes, but...
Right. All right. The Cannes Film Festival also has a VR event that they hold with their festival every year. And like all other, group outings, this one was canceled and moved into a virtual online exhibition. And what's really cool about the Cannes version of this is that they're doing their VR exhibition separately from the rest of their stuff, and instead of just beaming it straight into the menu on Oculus Quest the way that Tribeca did, Cannes is actually taking their exhibition into an online venue. They're actually going to an online space. We've often described this concept of virtual spaces actually being real places that you can go. They're places that you can visit, And this idea is not lost on the Cannes Film Festival because they're holding their VR exhibition this year in the Museum of Other Realities, which is what you're looking at here. This is a title that came into full release not that long ago. I want to say 4 or 5 months ago. We covered it at the time. We were quite impressed with the art exhibitions that exist inside this museum. And at the time, we described it as what it is. It's an actual real museum that you can visit in VR. So I think that this is just a brilliant move by this Cannes Film Festival to hold their event inside this virtual space. And I think it just is another example of the kind of progress that VR is making in this area.
Yeah, for sure. And this Museum of or whatever, I was gonna say natural history, but obviously it's not what it is. This museum was just, we blew us away so much, and we only scratched the surface. We only looked at maybe 1/20th of the thing. It was so huge. Now it's going to add this Cannes Festival. That's really cool. Now these are actually like movies that you said, or they're like this environments?
No, this for the most part. Now, I mean, there could be varying, art's a very fluid thing, so it could be anything, but Cannes is at its roots a film festival. And yeah, I think most, if not all of these exhibits are going to be immersive video experiences.
That's cool though. If there wasn't a reason to go to the Museum of Other Realities before, this is definitely one now. And it's on Viveport, right? That's how we played it, I believe.
Yeah, you can get it on Viveport. It's also available on Steam. I think it's $20. Am I right about that? It was $20, right?
Yeah, I believe so. And actually, for $20, it's definitely worth it, especially with the Cannes Festival stuff. Although it's not going to be all the time, but maybe it's going to be something that they start doing a lot more of, right? As we have all these different things going on.
Yeah, I got to imagine if this event's a success, that we're going to start to see more and more stuff like this in VR, in the same way that venues such as the Wave are establishing themselves as a venue for musical artists. I got to imagine that venues like the Museum of Other Realities are going to now establish themselves as a venue for video artists.
Yeah, and it is $20, so that's a really good steal. I thought it was really cool, and just the fact that you could roam around the whole place, and the sense of scale in a lot of these. You could shrink yourself, make yourself big, and then also you just had a lot of spaces to go to. We checked it out. It's actually, I don't even think it was 5 months ago, because I think it might have been at the beginning of this, because, well, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. It just would be a good way to get out, feel like you're really going out and roaming around an elaborate space instead of being stuck in your little apartment,
Yeah, a fully realized virtual museum here, not just an experience, for you to walk through and witness, but full co-op multiplayer support. So you and any number of friends can meet up inside this museum and take in the exhibits, and in this case, the films.
Yeah, and plus it's like you get to go into some of these exhibits, so it's like next level for art. If you love art, you have to check this out, in my opinion.
That's why it's the Museum of Other Realities, right? Because we've said it before, the things that are possible in virtual reality are things that are not possible in actual reality. So when you're looking at a piece of art in VR, it's not just something that you have to just stand there and take in from one perspective. You can shrink yourself down. I mean, these are the baked in controls of the museum. You can shrink yourself down to miniature size and take in the piece of art as this giant thing in front of you. Or you can make yourself giant size and take in the art as this tiny thing that can fit in the palm of your hand. And most importantly, a good number of these exhibitions, you can shrink yourself down and go into and witness them from the inside out. And that was a completely unique experience to anything I've ever experienced in my life. And some of these pieces of art were quite good.
Yeah, this would be a good date night game, right? You're going with your wife or your girlfriend or whatever. Just be good.
100%. And I'd love to see some multi-platform support here so that we could get greater numbers of people into it.
Yeah, get some Quest in there.
For sure. PlayStation VR even.
Yeah.
So this is called the Can XR Virtual, the digital festival hosted by the Museum of Other Realities will take place from the 24th of June through the 3rd of July. So something else for me to do during my birthday week, Ruuts. We're going to kick it all off with some Phantom Covert Ops. And then during the week, we're going to go to the Cannes Film Festival and take in some immersive video content. And then on July 3rd,
Iron Man.
it was. Yeah, July 3rd, Iron Man VR comes out. So, man, quite the birthday week shaping up for old Weasel here.
Yeah, you're going to have no time. You'll be working or playing games the whole time. It's crazy.
But for those of you who don't have a PC VR headset, it is stated here that the Can XR Virtual will be made available across a variety of platforms. Anyone with the VR headset can step into the Museum of Other Realities. Like I said, from June 24th to the 3rd of July. The app supporting headsets on Steam, Byport, and Oculus. But there will also be a 2D live video stream that's shot from inside the Museum of Other Realities, featuring conferences, pitching sessions, and project presentations. And a selection of the 360 cinematic experiences will be showcased on the VR platform. Plus, those without a headset will be able to go to select physical locations in several major cities across the United States, China, and France.
That sounds crazy. So you can actually watch it through the window then.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They're actually going to shoot a 2D stream from inside this virtual museum, and there's all sorts of activities planned.
Yeah. See, I don't even know if I have Viveport anymore. I'm thinking about buying this game, but I don't know if I would probably get it on Oculus, huh? Let me see if there's good ratings. So, oh wait, I've already been in there. I know it's good. So, no, it's definitely worth $20 for sure, in my opinion, or free if you've got Viveport. I don't know why you haven't gone in already.
You know, this title is actually on Keymailer, so we might just put in a Keymailer request for it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah,
I mean, we'd have to cover it again, but I'm sure we're going to do that anyway, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, this has Monday Show written all over it, don't it?
Yeah, it has a lot of Monday shows. Now, I want to literally watching this trailer makes me want to go back in just because I remember how cool it was. You know,
all right, cool. Well, I'll put in a Keymailer request for it. It's just a couple clicks, and we'll see what happens. Maybe save you $20 here.
Yeah, I just spent $25 getting Mini Motor X. So.
Yeah, I think that's on Keymailer too.
What? Oh well, I gave it's worth it for the devs, but definitely put in one for you so that we can multiplayer it up.
Yeah, actually, I've got a contact with those guys. I can just email them directly.
Oh man, yeah. Tell them to send an extra one. We'll give it away.
Hey, they might do it. You never know. You know, generally what I do, I don't try to solicit giveaway keys very often, so that when we have a special like the 2019 show, I can just email all of them and say, hey, we're doing this big deal at the end of the year. Can you help me? And I mean, if this year's anything like last year, the devs were very generous with the giveaway keys, and we have a lot more contacts even now, just 5 months later, than we did then. So I got to imagine 2020 show is going to be epic.
I know. I can't wait.
Yeah, so we're already almost halfway there. Isn't that nuts?
That's crazy. Time is flying, man.
We said right around this time we were going to produce a piece of content of all-time awards, because we were kind of upset at points because we were doing these awards, but we had to limit it to 2019 games.
Yeah.
And we said maybe we should do an all-time award somewhere around the midpoint of the year.
Huh. Oh,
Maybe
we're
we
almost
should
there.
do an all-time awards, huh?
Yeah, that would be, I think, pretty soon here for sure.
Yeah.
We're almost to June, so
We can give out awards for our favorites and the community's favorites all time from the start of VR.
yeah, it's a good idea.
Anyway, to create a diverse program, Ken XR Virtual Wow has collaborated with Tribeca Film Festival and Kaleidoscope, who will be curating their own showcases. So, not only will we get the entrance from the Cannes Film Festival, but we're also going to have curated showcases from Tribeca as well as Kaleidoscope. So, you know, as cool as the Tribeca thing was in Quest, I think that this exhibition that's taking place over a week in this virtual museum with all of these different showcases, I think this is going to be magnitudes of on levels of magnitude greater than what that even was.
Well, think about this too. Like, okay, say if you were going to be doing this film festival, if you had it scheduled to do it like a year ago as an artist for now, and wouldn't you be more excited about the way things are turning out than you would have been if it was in person? Everybody's going to use it. Everyone's waiting in line, and just not that many people are exposed to it. I mean, this just blew it up for these artists. And I just think as the whole world is freaking out in a lot of ways, these artists are like, yes, man, this is like the best news we've ever heard. And it's good for us as consumers. You know, I would never go to a film festival, but to be able to do it in VR from a museum of other realities already, it's a no-brainer. I don't see how I don't go. So I just think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And, you know, it's kind of finding the silver lining in all of this, right? Not just in this specific genre, but we're seeing it across the board in entertainment. We always knew as VR enthusiasts that entertainment was going to move in this direction. We were eventually going to be a preferred platform for all sorts of different exhibitions, whether it be art, music, movies. We knew that that was going to happen, but the unfortunate state of affairs in the world has kind of forced it into our venue this year. And I'm very hopeful that, you know, it's just going to stick now, right? That even if it's not necessary next year, that it's going to happen this way anyway, at least in some part. I mean, they can still have their physical events, but based on the success that they're having in the virtual space this year, I got to imagine that a lot of these different events are going to stick with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, let me ask you this. How long do you think it'll be till we get like a Jimi Hendrix laser light show or something that would be at a planetarium, or what goes on at a planetarium, or an IMAX experience? I mean, we've got the hardware for it, right? Like, you could do any of those things. And how cool would it be to blaze one up and then go in and watch the Jimi Hendrix light show, or the Metallica, or whatever it is, whatever, you know, band, and maybe you switch out the music, but you know, that's one of the things I used to love to go do it, you know, that I probably don't do anymore or wouldn't do. Just would be really cool.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that, and I got to imagine if you're going to catch that in an online venue, that it, you know, the leader would be, you know, the Wave. The Wave's really the only one I know of that's capable of doing such a thing right now. But the problem is that they're so focused on their one genre of music. We've got to get these guys to quit eating all the MDMA, quit eating all the methamphetamine, and get them to blaze up. Get them to eat some mushrooms.
Just chill. Yeah.
And then maybe we'll start to get some Jimi Hendrix and some cooler stuff like that.
Yeah. I just would love to see a laser light show, or, you know, or just go to the planetarium in your VR. I just think that would be really cool.
Yeah, we have a planetarium local to us here, and it's quite popular every year when they do the Pink Floyd experience.
Yeah, who doesn't love Pink Floyd, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I know I like Pink Floyd pretty well.
Yeah. You know who else loves Pink Floyd? Oh, that's not the right one.
That guy.
Yeah, I don't even know where that came from. That is not the button. So,
Anyway, June 24th through July 3rd, Museum of Other Realities on all major PC VR platforms, as well as VR, which is available. I think you can even go into VR on probably on Oculus Quest. You know,
Ooh,
VR's a
that'd be
pretty
cool.
VR's a pretty widely distributed VR video platform. So you won't be able to actually go into the museum, but you'll be able to take in some of these exhibits, you know.
Yeah, it's not going to be the same. That's just so cool in there, man. Just teleporting into the picture, and it's just really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. We need to check it out again, and we will soon.
Yep.
All right, so that's going to bring us to reminders, Ruuts. And as we always do when we start off our weekly reminders, we're going to remind everyone who's sitting at their computer right now to join us as we wish list some of these games that we talked about today. We've had some pretty cool stuff, even though it's in a bit of an abbreviated list here. Some cool stuff nonetheless. I mean, who doesn't want the Museum of Other Realities, Ruuts? That's a pretty awesome title, right?
Yeah, I just want to go wish list the Undead Citadel, but it's already wish list. And I am going to wish list the Museum of Other Realities as well, because I want it from Keymailer now that you told me that was an option. I need to go. I haven't been on there for so long. I need to actually look and see what's on there.
I think I've got Undead Citadel on my thing already. Let me check here. But definitely it should be if it's not. We'll take a moment here just as Steam is opening up. And again, all of you at home there, this is something that you can do that doesn't cost you anything more than a moment of your time. And it helps out the developers in multiple different ways. So join us. You know you want to play these games, so why not tell the developers and tell Steam and Oculus that you want to play them?
Not only that, but like I was going through today, just looking at the games that were on sale, and games that I had forgotten about popped up saying it's on my wish list, and then I looked at them and it was like mixed reviews, and I was like, screw that game. But you know, you won't know if a game's on sale. You might not even know that it's out unless it just all of a sudden it's popped up in the new releases, and you're like, oh yeah, I wanted that game. There's just so much coming out, so why not wish list it, right? Help out the devs.
Yeah, and it says it right here on the thing, please add our game on your wish list. So obviously it means something to these developers. And it was not on my wish list actually, but it is now. So I'm also going to go on to PSN and Iron Man VR, man. Who doesn't want Iron Man VR?
I don't. Oh, it's just I don't have a PlayStation VR. I want to pretend I gotta harden my heart and say I don't want that crap, even though I do. I want it to come, like you said, to not be an exclusive in maybe a month or 2 months or 3 months come out for PC VR.
Try 12, bro.
Yeah, maybe.
If if it comes, it would probably be, I got to imagine, close to a year, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it'll happen in 6 months.
Yeah, well, or maybe it'll never happen, and then we'll have to get a PlayStation VR.
Well, you're gonna get a PS5 anyway. I mean, you're going to, whether or not you know it yet. You're going to. I promise you, you will.
And the only way I see that I don't is if society completely melts down, and then I won't care. It won't be on my mind.
Well, yeah, obviously, if the world melts, then nobody's going to have one. But
yeah, well, it'd be cool though if you were one of the only ones. Like if you got it right before, although you wouldn't have many games.
So is it not on here anymore? I'm having difficulty finding it. I know they canceled pre-orders when they delayed it, but I'm not even seeing it on here at all.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Maybe it's in M because it's Marvel's Iron Man VR. So maybe that's what it is. Let's try that. Marvel's Iron Man VR. Nothing. All right, so let's just search for Iron Man then. Iron Man. Iron Man dynamic theme. So no, it's not even on the PlayStation Store for me to
not wishlisting it, Wes.
You know what I was actually going to do, Ruuts, if it were on here, is I was going to do a reminders Wishlist first in pre-order. I was just going to go ahead and pre-order it, but
yeah, they just screwed themselves out of your money. You're not going to get the game now.
Not at all. I've had that money earmarked for this game for 6 months. They're getting it for sure.
Yeah. Hey, maybe they won't. Maybe they'll give you a free copy.
You know, if Sony weren't the publisher, I would think so, but I don't see Sony ponying up any games to me anytime soon. But who knows? Maybe they will. Anyway, that was Wishlist. What did you wishlist? Be sure to let us know in the comments down below. All right, Ruuts, it's going to bring us to what is quickly becoming one of my favorite segments on the show, free stuff and killer deals.
We need to have Oprah come back for the free stuff. You know?
Well, maybe we will. Maybe she'll make another appearance in the 2020 show this year.
Yeah. Can't keep her away.
Free stuff and killer deals. And, you know, Ruuts, I think this has to be one of the more epic installments of free stuff and killer deals. PSN, of course, as has been the case for the last couple of weeks, the PS Plus titles for May are Cities Skylines and Farming Simulator 19. Be sure that those of you who are subscribed to PS Plus pick those up now while you still can. Also on PSN, for anyone, whether or not you're a member of Plus, right now the Lego Ninjago the movie video game is free for everyone. So another free game there. They do this from time to time, especially since the lockdown started. They've been giving away games, and I know for those of you who are uninitiated out there, you might kind of scoff a little bit at the prospect of playing a Lego game, but trust me, man, I've played some of the Lego superhero games, and they're actually legit fun games.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Did you download yours? You getting ready to play it?
No, not at all.
That's not getting you back into flat gaming.
But it's 100% in my library. I did go on there and claim it because, dude, it's free.
Yeah, and your kids, you have kids that would probably actually enjoy playing through that game.
Yeah, that's specifically what I thought about my my youngest son. Is probably really going to dig that.
Yeah, who doesn't love Legos, right? And free. So
who doesn't love free? And especially Ruuts. As we move on to the Epic Game Store, who doesn't love the most popular game of all time, most likely, in terms of copies sold and revenue generated? Who wouldn't want that for free, Ruuts?
Yeah, you talking about this game, right?
I'm
GTA
absolutely
5?
talking about Grand Theft Auto 5. Not the normal copy either, the premium edition that gives you $1 million in their online portion of their game, plus some other properties and things I think you get with it. The Grand Theft Auto 5 Premium Edition is 100% free to keep if you go onto the Epic Game Store this week and claim it. You know, we alluded to it last week, Ruuts, that something was amiss, something was strange going on because they were counting down to the next game, and they've never done that before. And this is what it was, and I think this is a pretty awesome surprise.
Oh, yeah, it's one of the best games out there. The online is amazing, especially when you take the time to buy stuff. I've got so many toys, rocket cars, like the coolest things, and talk about the craziest PvP, man. You get in there with some friends, and you get, I've got a vehicle that it's got a gunner on the top, and one person's driving, the other person's, it just gets crazy, Wes. People are mowing people down, and unfortunately you can't do that in VR because it won't let you. I guess they count it as a mod, so it would get you would get banned, but you can play the mod on the story line, and that's cool. So
yeah, that's one of the greatest things about this game is not only is this widely regarded as one of the best video games of all time, but it's fully, the single player story and all the single player content fully playable in VR with the mod that recently dropped. And, it's not 100% polished and perfect, but it's pretty close, right? This is a great mod. Almost seems, we've seen worse patches from developers, right?
Yeah, no, it's just getting better and better. the mod, and it's definitely worth playing through. Even just playing flat this game, the story, I really loved it. And one of the best things about this deal is they're giving away a $10 credit, right? If you pick up this free game, and then games like Trover Saves the Universe is $8, so you could get Trover for free as well. And that's one of the best games in VR platforming wise. We just talked about that recently. And I looked today after I picked up GTA 5. I have a $10 credit that was good till October anyway. So I can get something that's $20 off. And then if I get that, then I'll get another $10 because it's anything over $15, you get another $10 gift card. So, or get credit. So man, I mean, I'm set to get at least a really cheap game plus another one. I don't know. I'm gonna have to take a look because I already own Trover. But I mean, what a good time. And I know some people are down on Epic in the Discord saying that they're desperate, but man, they crashed the servers with people flooding to their store, gave them credit to get a game, so they're guaranteed to buy at least one game. So now you got 2 games that are in the store, and the biggest thing you want is once you get the games and people start buying, they feel invested in the store and they start using it, and it becomes a viable thing. I mean, the hardest part about the whole thing is getting you onto the store. So I think it's brilliant, and and you nailed it, Nostradamus or Westradamus. I believe GTA 6 is about to drop because there's no way that they're giving this game away, especially giving away the online stuff, unless that's the case.
Yeah, 100%. And I've heard rumors about GTA 6 coming recently. Anyway, we happen to know that it's going to take place in Florida. It's going to be centered around Vice City, but the map is going to be much larger than just Vice City. Vice City is just going to be a small portion of the larger map. So, everything I'm hearing so far sounds great about GTA 6. And let's hope that the Super Hot devs take a page out of these guys' books, right? And maybe next month we start to see Super Hot VR go free to everyone who doesn't already own it.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a countdown already for the next game. I think it's like 4 days and something. So they're definitely not announcing games, ahead of time anymore. They're gonna, leave it as a mystery until the day drops. Either that, or this is going to be another really big game like Super Hot or whatever. So
yeah, who knows what it could be, right? Apparently, it's going to be pretty awesome, or else they wouldn't be playing this, suspense-filled game of Countdown.
Yeah.
But yeah, Epic Game Store, just a massive sale going on right now. Tons of games with high discounts on them. And like Ruuts said, they give you a $10 coupon at the door, and every time you use it, they give you another one. And it's good till November. So the last one that you don't use, you'll get to hold on to it. And then maybe something pops up this summer that you want. You can use it then. But like Ruuts said, you can get Trover, Saves the Universe for just $8, which is ridiculous. Tetris Effect, which is normally a $40 game, it's on sale for $28, and with your $10 off coupon, you can own Tetris Effect on PC, which is the best version that I've played of it. $18, Ruuts. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. So what you're saying is if you don't have an Epic account right now, you can go get GTA 5 for free and never want to play it, even if you don't play it. And then you can get this game for less than $20, which is the biggest thing people bitched about when it came out is, man, $40 is too much. Well, how about half of that? $20. I don't know. Like at some point, either you want to own this game or not. And I think it's one of the best games. Visually, audibly, the haptics, we've said it many times before. It's just an amazing game.
Yeah, it made me wonder if Anthony's going to pick it up because, while he wasn't, a completely converted disciple when we had him try this, we did change his mind about it. He did recognize now why people like Tetris Effect, and $18, that's a hell of a lot better than 40.
Yeah, not Gary though, right? Reckoner VR. He said he equated this to Beat Saber. He's like, it's just Tetris Effect. But yeah, so no, I don't know. I loved it. I every time I see it, it makes me want to play this again. And I was thinking about this today, Wes. I think I'm going to force myself to fist bump the Falcon, and that's not sex talk. That's Ruuts talk for Falcon Age, and I think it's about time.
Well, you can go fist whatever you want, brother. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, who wouldn't, right? It's Falcon, man.
I didn't check that one actually to see. It might even be on sale as well. I forgot all about that being on the Epic Game Store.
Yeah,
could
Falcon
be
Age.
on sale.
Yeah, very possible.
Tons of big name flat games. You know, I looked. I think most of the Far Cry series you can get for $5 a piece on there right now, or something crazy like that. You know, I mean, just tons, loads of big name games on there for very little money. And
Cyberpunk, you can get Cyberpunk 2077 for $47 pre-order, and then that's without the $10 coupon. You could get it for $37. So
I'm actually quite interested in that game, to be honest, Ruuts. So, you know, I don't know if I can't say definitively whether or not I'll ever play it or not, but I did sit through over an hour of gameplay footage the other day just to check it out, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, well, that might be the game that gets you to play some flat, you know.
Maybe.
If
I had to bet, though, if I was a betting man, I think that the game that pulls me over is probably going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially with all the everything we talked about earlier, for sure.
Think they'll bundle a game with PS5?
You would think so. They're going to bundle it with something, right? Maybe a Tomb Raider or something that everybody loves. That you know, I mean, that game we saw the footage of could have been Tomb Raider with the way it looked, you know, except for the character. So
right. Yeah, well, I'm thinking that they could do that. I'm thinking that it's probably going to be fairly high priced, you know, console. And the way things are looking, it looks like Microsoft might actually undercut them on price and have the lower, the higher spec from a pure spec perspective, the higher spec box at a lower price. So you got to think that if Sony is going to put out something that's costly like that, they're going to want to add things into it to increase the value proposition for prospective consumers. And the best way they could do that is by including games, right?
Yeah. Especially like you said, if it's super expensive, people might not be able to get a game. And it's always nice to have a game come with it. And usually there's always a game that comes with the initial one, at least, you know. So
I mean, the last time that they've attempted to, you know, price their console at or above $500 was PlayStation 3, and that was an abysmal failure. So if they're going to try that again, they better bring the heat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which we know they're 100% going to bring the heat from a hardware perspective, but you know. You gotta, you know, if you want people to drop that kind of dough, you got to give them something that they want. And, you know, they have I think that maybe they could, I mean, it doesn't even have to be a PS5 exclusive. They could take one of their PS4 exclusive that's going to be cross-generational, something like Ghost of Tsushima, maybe even, dare I say, The Last of Us 2, and something that's going to have a dedicated PS5 upgrade patch on day one, and bundle it with the console, and I think that would add a lot of value to the to it. And if I had to guess, I'd guess that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, they got to do something. I agree.
Yep. Anyway, check out the Epic Game Store. Lots of killer deals and great free stuff to be had on there right now. Over on Steam, we've got the Wonder of VR collection. Ruuts, this is a collection of a lot of our little miniaturized worlds that we have loved to visit. A lot of our favorite games here. Moss, The Curious Tale of the Stolen Pets, Down the Rabbit Hole, and A Fisherman's Tale, all bundled together, Ruuts, $43.
And I was looking at that, and I was looking at my bundle, and it said it was $35 for that bundle with a discount. And I was like, what the hell? I own all of those, but they're on different platforms. So that's why. But no, man, each one of those games is amazing in its own right. Moss especially. I can't say good enough. And you haven't. I was just telling you this. You have never even played a Fisherman's Tale, man. We gotta do that as a because I said so or something. Force you into there. I think you're really gonna like it. So
yeah, I do too. And you know, I was actually, my plan was to go into a Fisherman's Tale and a couple of other puzzle games like Zing: The Land Beyond. And the whole idea is that I was going to work my way up to Abduction. Well, as we all know, recently we just kind of ripped the Band-Aid off and jumped right into Abduction, and now I'm just kind of stuck in that one. I really don't see myself starting another puzzle game until I finish this one. But this is definitely on the short list. I love what they're doing with scale here, and it seems like an innovative take on environmental puzzling.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I still need to finish it, but I just like the fact that you can look up and see yourself, or look down, and just the story, the way they did it. I just thought it was really unique.
Yeah, definitely on my short list of puzzlers that I'd like to try. I'd like to try this for the concept, for the actual innovative puzzling, and I want to try the Jing basically for the environments. It's supposed to be a beautiful game, and I'd like to check it out.
Yeah, I think you like that one as well.
Yeah, this game that we're looking at here, Down the Rabbit Hole, a fun world to visit, right?
Yeah, and it just came out. I think it's what, $15 right now, which is a good deal if outside of the package. So
yeah, when you consider that Moss retails for $30 by itself, and by the way, $30 is a fair price for Moss. Great game. When you consider this bundle here is just, $13 more than that, and you get Curious Tale, you get Down the Rabbit Hole, you get Fisherman's Tale, all of that for the extra $13. I mean, that's a pretty damn good deal.
I agree. Yeah, all 4 games are really worth getting and worth playing through for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So we move on to the Oculus Rift store, and actually I wasn't expecting much when I checked the Oculus Rift store, because normally there isn't much on there in the way of sales, but I was pleasantly surprised when I opened up the sale page, and the first thing I saw was Defector for $10, Ruuts. A lot of debate on this game, whether or not it should have been priced for more, even whether or not it was long enough. I don't think anybody can question whether or not this game is worth $10. This is one of the best releases last year, and definitely in my...
Oh, go ahead. It was $20, right? Originally?
Yeah, $20 retail, yeah.
Yeah, right. That was the big bitch. Everyone was like, this is too cheap. It's not going to be good. Right. And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean it's too cheap? No, for $10 especially, it's definitely worth it. I thought $20 was a steal, and really good story as well.
Yeah, it's been so long since I played through this one. Looking at it here, I had a lot of fun playing this. I could see myself doing it again, right?
Yeah, well, because there's different paths as well, so
exactly.
you get to decide, I want to go this way, and it changes changes the way you're going. So
yeah, one of the best examples, even still, of storytelling in VR, right? Cinematic storytelling.
Yeah, this was the Blood and Truth of PCVR, although Blood and Truth story was a little bit better, but I feel like the action here was, I don't want to say a little bit better, but it was more, less node based. I guess it wasn't node based. So, it's more of a locomotion version of it. So it's been 2018. Has it been that long since this game came out?
I thought it was early last year. Maybe it was in 2018.
Maybe it was at the end, but I don't know. I thought maybe that was when this trailer was put out. But man, it seems like it's been longer. Or not as long. I don't know. Yeah, it's been crazy. Time is crazy.
Anyway, an awesome 4 to 5 hour action-packed adventure game here. World-class AAA quality game. $10 is an absolute steal for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as long as we're throwing out $10 here to get to get an underrated game, let's talk about Boiling Steel. I mean, not very many games that, in my opinion, are as underrated as that one. I mean, it's not the best game of all time, but it's a lot better than it gets credit for being because of the time that it was released. It was released in the midst of all these Gen 2 VR titles like Stormland and Asgard's Wrath, Pistol Whip. All these games got released in the same window. Budget Cuts 2. And people never really gave Boiling Steel the time that it deserves. Ruuts, a whole lot of game here and a whole lot of quality as well.
Yeah, it definitely was pretty good. And it was unique as far as the story, and the way that it was done. I mean, it kind of had a persistence feel. You die, you get respawned in a new body. And then it was definitely, it was pretty crazy as well as far as the fighting. You had the different tools that you had to use. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, a free demo available now if it's something you think you might like. It's actually it's technically a first-person shooter game, but it's a very unique take on one as you're in this fully upgradable robot body, and the things you're not really using proper guns, but instead you're using all of this heavy equipment that operates and works like a gun. A lot of unique weapons, a lot of unique upgrades, a whole lot of game here, like literally. I'm not sure exactly how many hours it takes to beat it, but I mean, it took well over an hour to get through the entire tutorial. So, I mean, a lot of game here. $10, in my opinion, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's definitely worth $10 for sure.
Also on the Oculus Rift store, a game that I haven't tried yet, but if you like puzzlers, this one was pretty well received. Prose Enlightenment. $4, Ruuts. I mean, they're just giving that one away now, aren't they?
Yeah, that's really cheap. Yeah, I didn't even see that one on the list. I don't know. I don't know if I played through Prose or not. Was it a long game or?
I didn't. Again, I didn't play it. I know that I know that it was fairly high quality for when it came out, and it's really not all that old. What, 6-8 months ago that game came out?
Yeah, man, time is flying. Games are flying out. It's been crazy.
Kind of crazy to see it down at $4 this soon, right?
Yeah. So it's a good time to pick up some games.
Yeah, for sure. This week, I mean, shit, man, you can get GTA for free. What the hell? You can even play it in VR.
Yeah, GTA 5 for free, along with Trover. If you don't have it, it's a no-brainer in my mind.
Yeah. I got to say here, honestly, and this is me being in all honesty, if you have the money, you of course you need to get the GTA 5. You need to get Trover for $8. I mean, you'd be stupid not to at this point. Defector for $10, Boiling Steel for $10, and Prose for $4. I think that, what is that? That's not even $50 for a handful of great games.
Yeah, it's good. It's a lot of hours of playtime too.
Yeah, awesome. All right, that's going to wrap up free stuff and killer deals. And that brings us to our final reminder this and every week, and that is the reminder of how you can support our channel. Of course, for those of you new to the channel, the best way that you can help grow our channel is by 1, subscribing, and 2, clicking on that notification bell. Again, this is the easiest and best way to help not only grow our channel, but to grow our community. For those of you who have been longtime subscribers and you want to take a more direct hand in helping our community to grow, you can, of course, support us on Patreon. And by doing so, you will gain early access to our show notes every week, as well as the occasional episode of The Money Show, which is a collection of outtakes that we put together when we record these episodes. And of course, most importantly, join the Discord. The conversation doesn't stop when this video ends, friends. It just moves. It moves over to our Discord server and goes on there all day, every day. Ruuts, I've been on there all day today talking about PlayStation 5 with some PC gamers.
Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been very active there. Plus, there's a lot of looking for group going on these days. We're always looking to multiplayer it up, so it's a good way to.
You know who else is always looking for a group, Ruuts?
My mom!
Yeah.
Anyway, there's an invite in the description. Please join the Discord. Come and join the conversation. And one more reminder, friends, is that not tomorrow, but in the coming days and weeks, we are going to be going live with the Monday show. And in the days leading up to our live debut of the Monday show, we're going to be running various tests on the channel where we're just at a random time, we're going to go live. There's going to be very little warning of it. We'll pick some topic to talk about. Maybe it's going to be free stuff and killer deals. Maybe it'll be some other news item. But the whole purpose is going to be to test out how our setup works in a live format, how well we can communicate with chat, and basically to dip our toes in the water before we jump in head first. So if you want to participate in these live tests, and we will need a couple of you, so hopefully someone shows up. Again, be sure you're subscribed. Be sure you click that bell. Be sure you're in our Discord so that you know when these live events happen. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, Ruuts, never to be duplicated.
Yeah, can only do it the beginning of the Monday show once, right? Or live anyway.
Yeah, you guys will be able to say it. You'll be able to tell your grandkids when Ruuts and Wes finally decided to start going live, I was there.
Yeah, it's like the beginning of or go back in time for Bill and Ted's, right? How they were famous in the future. So.
Yeah. I heard something today, Ruuts, and I'm not sure quite how to take it. And we won't get into a big conversation here. If we want to talk about this, we'll take it over to the appropriate channels of the Discord. But the Bill and Ted 3 movie that's going to be starring Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter aren't really going to focus on Bill and Ted, but instead it is going to revolve around their daughters.
Oh, yeah. Shocker. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see, you know.
Yeah, and you can remember back in Bill and Ted 2, I think, didn't they have kids when they went into the future? Remember Little Bill and Little Ted?
Yeah.
Apparently little Bill and Little Ted are now
little girls.
I guess they have sisters, huh?
Yeah, maybe. That's 2020, who knows? Why are you presuming?
Yeah. How dare I, right?
Yeah. So
anyway, with that said, friends, that's going to wrap up our show. And as always, we'd like to thank you for watching. For Ruuts, I'm Wes. We'll see you tomorrow, friends, or maybe Wednesday or Thursday. Who knows anymore?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, really.
Anyway, we'll see you then, friends. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.